there's no really safety in a full-time job. No matter how good you are, there's never a safety. I think that's an illusion. Yeah, I was about 6 months in. I kept applying to all sorts of jobs. Nobody would hire me. Had a part-time job. It wasn't even a full-time job for groundskeeper, but I knew that this could be the breakthrough for me. That was the final straw. That was the final push. I said, this is it, right? This is my moment. Like, it's now. Build your runway. Like, how much could you live on zero income? Because remember, whatever you're making today, chances are when you stepped into this, self-employed world, it's gonna be down to zero. Whatever you do, like just every day learn something, every single day.
So what I'm hearing you say is partner with this technology. Don't run from this technology. Don't try to hide.
You can't hide. You can't hide. You're gonna be the obsolete. This technology is just a tool. It's not your enemy. And technology itself is not taking your job. But someone that can handle that technology will, even when the economy picks up. There's another phenomenon. I was just talking to a friend literally yesterday, and he told me, he's an investor. He said, it's happening. What's happening?
AD, welcome to the show, man.
Good to be here, brother.
Hey, what do you think of the set?
Love it. Love it. Incredible set.
It's a beautiful set, and it's great to have you here. Godfather vibes. You look great, man. How have you been?
Things are going up, man.
Good.
They're looking up.
Good. Well, I'm excited to have you on the show, and obviously the audience knows that we've gone back and forth as host, moderator, guest, guest and host, and guest and host, and so this is now my opportunity to be the moderator and the host and ask you some questions that I think are important to get your take on in the industry. And but before we do that, I want to maybe for those who don't know, or maybe those who don't follow you every day like I do, tell the audience a little bit about what you do, who your consulting group, all the things that you do. You do a lot of things.
Yeah, we do quite a few things. So because my background is multifamily maintenance facilities, I do consulting, high level consulting on the maintenance and facility side. We also do a little bit of, we do a lot of marketing, right? So it's content marketing, ghostwriting, podcast production, which could be also deemed as marketing as well, right? It's educational marketing, and we're also helping companies on the supplier side getting in front of decision makers, partnerships. We partner with them, and we help them. We coach them. We show them. We're basically complementing their business development, sales, marketing teams, because we have all this expertise in-house. We're able to complement. We never try to replace any of those components. Just try to be just add fuel to the fire.
So before we get into all of what you do in multifamily and as a consultant, I don't know, man, if we've really talked, and feel free to go as deep and as far back as you want to, but your roots, man, you're Romanian. You go back, it seems like annually at least to see family and stay connected.
Lately, yeah, lately, sometimes twice a year.
But I've also come to realize, I think you have a legal degree. You've mentioned before. I don't know if anyone knows this story. So are you willing to kind of trace it back? So you're Romanian, right? You grew up there.
Yeah.
When did you come to the States?
So I came to the States in 2003.
Okay, so you came in 2003. Where'd you land? Like Florida, Atlanta? Like where?
I landed in Atlanta.
Okay. How'd you land in Atlanta?
So it just so happened that there was a family in the village that I came from, where I was born and where I grew up. There was a family that had their children here in Atlanta. My father learned about that family and learned about their son, this older gentleman's son, and he went to the gentleman and said, "Hey, my son also won this green card, and They don't have any knowledge, anything. Would you be willing to speak with your son and see if they will give him any type of like help, assistance, guidance?
So, Adrian, in Romania, tell me about this urge to move to the United States. Like, how did that happen? Like, I don't even know if I know the story.
So I think it started very early. At an early age, I was dreaming about America, but I didn't dare at the time to believe that this could actually be real, that I could actually move overseas. Because when I was growing up, Romania was like a huge prison. People were not allowed to travel. If you were to go outside of the country, you had to be like some special, diplomat, or be in a secret service, or you could only travel to other communist countries like Russia or Bulgaria, things of that nature. But there was just no such a thing to like go to America.
Where did you get exposed to America? Like, did you see the Olympics, or was it like soccer? Like, what was your exposure to the United States?
So my father and I were listening to the Voice of America radio journals on a daily basis.
So what was that? I don't even know what that is.
So it's a station, a radio station, that's financed by the U.S. government, that back in the day broadcasted news from the Western Hemisphere, from United States, and tried to help people get access to what happened beyond the Iron Curtain, because everything was censored. The only information that we would get from the TV stations was censored by the government. Just to give you an idea, there's 2 hours of a TV program on one channel, a single channel that was obviously government owned. And there was just propaganda, right? And all you would see about the Western world is that, capitalism is bad, and it's, and it fails, and we're living in the best society in the world. So the United States government started this Radio Free Europe and Voice of America, and they were broadcasting to all the ex-communist at the time countries, just so people could like learn the truth, right? And we were listening to those programs. My dad and I was 5 years old. Once a week they had reportages from large American cities, and the person that was speaking was describing what it's like to live in Chicago, in New York, in LA, in all the large cities in the United States. And back then we had incredible power shortages, blackouts actually. There was not enough electricity, so we get electricity. We used to get like 5-6 hours a day, and the rest they will just cut electricity. So I was listening to these journals at a battery-operated radio with my dad in the dark, and I was staying like there in the dark and imagining with my eyes closed what it's like to just be part of this, great American society. For me, it was like a dream. I never even dared to hope that one day I will be living in America. So later in life, when this opportunity came about, it was a dream that came true after over 2 decades.
What was the opportunity, though? Was it you had family here, or you came into some financial resource, or you were motivated, or all the above, maybe?
No. So there's a U.S. government program. It's called Diversity Visa. They give away 50,000 visas every year. The U.S. government does.
Across the world.
Across the world. And each country, it's assigned a number of visas, right? Green cards. And then every person that it's in that particular country, they have like a window of 30 days to apply. You take a picture. It was a handwritten form. You will fill it out, and you will send it to an address, to a PO box. I was newly married at the time. This was in 2001. And I have a first cousin, that lives in Canada. And my cousin was pushing me for years, said, go ahead and apply, because you never know, you might be winning. And just so happened that I was newly married, so he called a month after I got married, said, They opened this up again for next year. Now is the window. Go ahead and apply. So I told to my wife, I said, why don't we apply? There's nothing to lose. So she said, well, let's do it. I don't believe it's actually a lottery. I don't. She didn't believe, there was any chance to win. Yeah. And she just happened to be the one. She was picked. So about 6 months later, we got a big envelope in the mail with her name on it.
Wait, your wife was chosen?
She was chosen. I qualify as a spouse.
Sure.
And we were given, green card.
So tell me about that moment, man. So she gets this big envelope. She didn't think it was real, it sounds like, right? She thought it was...
She wasn't sure.
She was skeptical, right?
She knew the envelope was real. And she came home. She used to be a teacher. Mm-hmm. So I came home from work earlier, like an hour before she got home. And she came holding this envelope. It's like a big manila envelope, large manila envelope. And she says to me, I don't want you to get too excited about this, but I think we won the lottery. And as soon as she said that, I started screaming. And
what a moment! What a moment for you guys.
The moment was she didn't know what to believe. She said, "So what are we doing now?"
So what do we do?
So I said,
"Where do we go?"
We're going. We're going. In her mind was
Did you have any sense where you were going to go or what you were going to do?
No, there was no sense at the time. The first thing we did, we started looking to online for Romanian American communities here. And we started sending messages and emails.
But this is early 2000s, right?
Yeah,
so this email was barely a thing.
Exactly, it was barely a thing, and a very few communities online, very hard to find.
Yeah.
There were probably less than a handful that we were able to find in the United States. And we had a couple of people that were willing to return our messages. A couple of them were willing to call me and talk to me over the phone, give me a little bit about the lay of the land, about the United States and what to expect.
So this is crazy. So I've never heard this story. This is cool. So you're a young man listening to U.S. radio with your father, right? And this is probably what, you were early 20s, mid 20s when this happened, or this envelope, you received this envelope?
Yeah.
So you're this young man inspired by the radio episodes of the U.S. and now you're newly married and suggesting to your wife, let's submit an application to see if we get in, to see if we can go to the States. She comes home with this big envelope. You go screaming around the house and you're excited. And now you guys have to make that decision. It sounds like she was a little nervous about it, and it sounds like you were a little bit more focused on, we got to figure out how to get there.
We had two different upbringings, right?
Yeah.
She grew up next to her parents, and they were still close, they were living a few streets down from where we were at the time, even after we got married. I left my home when I was 14 years old to go to high school. So I lived as an intern in dorms.
You were pretty independent.
Yeah, I had to be. I had to be. So since I was 14, I was on my own. So for me, changing my place, it didn't mean a lot, right? It was just now a different challenge.
But for her to not only just leave her family, but now she's leaving her country, across the world.
A lot, everything. And for me as well, right? I made a lot of friends. Because
in Romania?
I had a lot of friends, and obviously family too. Parents and my brother and everything. Our entire world is there.
And I don't want to make the whole episode about this, but it's really interesting. I've never heard this story, and I don't know if you've talked about this much publicly. But was your family? I mean, was it mixed? Some didn't want you to go, some did want you to go. I can't think everyone wanted you to go.
So nobody, I say, was happy that we were leaving, but at the same time they didn't show it, because in their heart, deep in their hearts, they knew that this is gonna open some doors, some opportunities for us that we didn't have out there.
So I know what you mean by that. Meaning they were sad to see you go.
Sad to see me go, but
this
they
was an opportunity.
Withheld and didn't fully express, their feelings. Was just.
Well, that's what families do. I think sometimes is we kind of reserve our personal take and try to reflect and say what's best for our family, or at least they should, right? Do that. And sounds like they did that, and you guys made your way to the States and found that community in Atlanta, it sounds like, as well, and off to the races. And you stumbled into probably multifamily maintenance and got your first opportunity on the main side.
Yeah, I was about 6 months in. I kept applying to all sorts of jobs. Nobody would hire me. I wasn't speaking English. So you speak no English, you have no work history. So
like zero English? Or
probably like 40 words, 30 words.
Oh,
like
really?
my leg could curse the heck out of me.
I could curse in English.
Yeah, exactly, yes. Yeah, but not so much. Not so much beyond that, right? So without speaking the language, funny. Without any verifiable work history here, as you could imagine, people don't take chances. I don't blame them, right? So the first opportunity came at an apartment community that had a part-time job. It wasn't even a full-time job for a groundskeeper, but I knew that this could be the breakthrough for me. So I took the job. I made the best of it. And then 6 months later, there was an opening at an apartment community where I was actually living at. Oh. They're open full-time. That's actually a funny story, too. They had an older gentleman that was from Bosnia. There was a groundskeeper there at where I used to live. And as I was going to my part-time job, he was always there like 6:30 in the morning. I was leaving my home probably like 7:50 in the morning. And one day when I was heading to my work, he's not there. So I come back from my part-time job and I tell my wife, I think this gentleman is not working here anymore, so I want to go take his job. So she said, you're crazy. Like, what are you talking about? Like, people, calling sick, they take vacations. Like, he deserves a day off. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, like, he's not working here anymore.
What was that just your hunch, your gut?
Yeah, but I got discouraged because, she had a point. Like, maybe the man just, took it out. The next morning I go to work and he's not at work again.
So you're feeling good.
So as soon as I came back, I stopped at the leasing office. I asked to speak with the manager. With the manager, the property manager, I introduced myself. I told him what I was doing.
Now, at this point, your English is a little bit better.
A little bit. Not a whole lot, a little bit. Yeah, and they gave me the chance. He interviewed me, and I got a full-time job.
And so it turned out you were right. He was he was let go, or he just wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, just he wasn't there anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a cool story. I haven't heard any of these stories. These are. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, obviously, in all the work that you do and the heart that you have, and hearing these stories, man. It's it runs deep. You've been in this business a long time, like me, and we both got our start at the entry level. Me on the office side, you on the maintenance side, and so I'm encouraged to hear about these stories, and obviously it sounds like from that point on, obviously there was a lot of twists and turns along the way, I'm sure, and probably don't have time for all the full recap of the entire story, but it's propelled you all the way really up and through regional to vice president of facilities, I believe as well. What I'd love to get the scoop and get the story, and I know it more than most, but I don't think a lot of people realize why you went on your own, both out of livelihood, right, to support yourself, but also I'm sure as a passion that. But before you went out on your own, it's a question that you asked me, I think, on the last episode. Did you have interest before you actually went on your own, to consider going on your own? Did you ever give it any thought?
For the longest time, no. And I had people approaching me and saying, I believe you could do very well on your own. I said, no. I have zero interest in working for myself, taking all this risk.
Why were they saying that to you? They saw a growing audience, all the things you were doing online?
Just they thought that I could do more than, just what I was capable of doing more than what I could do from a, just W-2 vintage point, right, where just being an employee, that I could build something, whatever they thought at the time. It wasn't necessary that I didn't, but I didn't consider. There was never a consideration.
So after they brought it to your attention, did you start thinking about it, or did you just still disregard it?
I disregarded the entire time, but there were a couple of other things that happened. So the first one was that I got laid off twice in a year. it just happened. I wasn't fired. It was just literally my position was eliminated twice in a year. So that was one of the signals that I had
What did that tell you though, like privately? Is it
privately, there's no really safety in a full-time job. No matter how good you are, there's never a safety. I think that's an illusion. That when you work a full-time job and you do a great you do great work, then you gonna be safe. Like your job is gonna be safe. I proved wrong twice in a year. I was proved wrong, and I just then realized that the only situation that you could control is the one that you build for yourself, right? Everything else is secondary. But when you put your faith into somebody else's faith, it could be a great corporation, right? Again, like I understand this is business, and I don't have any hard feelings about being laid off. But I just realized this is how business is. Today I have a job, today you don't, tomorrow you're not gonna have that job. Might not have, right? So that was one of the things. And the second thing was that I did everything that I could as an employee. When you reach, in my trade, when you reach the VP level, that's about as high as you could go.
Well, it's probably higher than most. I mean, there's not a lot of VP of facilities positions that I'm aware of in the industry. And if anything, it's a new thing, right? But 5-10 years ago, VPs of facilities, I don't recall seeing that position very often.
It's true. And also I just realized that I'm right there at the ceiling, right? The most that I could do, I could like go back down and come back to that ceiling. So just knowing that I kind of reached my limit, the top limit didn't sit well with me. I was 48 years old at the time. I figured, I might have 15, 20 years left doing this.
So what was it? So the last layoff was that the trigger that you said, listen, I'm gonna.
That was the final straw. That was the final push, right? The final push. I said, this is it, right? This is my moment. Like it's now, right? I don't have to go. I didn't even apply for any job. Like the second time I got laid off, I started pursuing my own thing. I started my own business.
Looking back on that, was that 2 or 3 years now, somewhere in there?
A little over 2 years. It was in September 2 years ago.
So looking back on that, as you've kind of unpacked, as you got started and started to build your business, what have you reflected on that went well early on? What do you wish that you maybe did more of at that time, and what maybe do you wish you did less of maybe at that time? Have you given it some thought?
I just think that there were obviously my business has evolved. I did like so many reiterations in 2 years that I don't even, I lost count. So I think I had to go through this learning curve and through this journey. If I was to say, hey, if I was to start now knowing what I know, this is what I do, it's very easy to say. But nobody has this luxury. Nobody. And besides, my business, the way it is today, it's not going to be the same business a year from now. It's going to be different. Some things are going to change. Maybe the entire way that I'm approaching the business is going to change. It's impossible for me to say. So it's very easy to look back and say, if I was to start, I should probably start with what I'm doing today. There's so many pieces that it was an entire journey. It was like the people I met, the things that I've done, that I couldn't be where I am today without all the action that I've taken for the past 2 years. And as you take action and you see what's working, what's not working, you just kind of double down on what works, and that's kind of how you get to put some chips on the table, how you win.
What do you like most about being an entrepreneur? What do you not like most?
I think I think what I like most about being an entrepreneur, there's two things. One of them is that I decide whom I want to work with, whom I don't want to work with, and that's a real thing. Like I could pick and choose and say, like, I don't want to work with this potential client.
Or you could pursue clients that you want to work with as well.
Exactly. Or on the other side, very well said, is that when I was an employee, I could only serve one company at a time.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I worked for amazing companies throughout my career. But I feel that I'm at a point where I could make a difference for more than just one group. And this was one of the other reasons why I decided to step out of the W-2, out of that comfort of a full-time position and great corporate salary, because I know that I could affect change for more than one group at a time. And whether that's a management company, whether that's a supplier, partner, I feel more fulfilled this way.
Tell us about things that people don't see. How hard is being an entrepreneur?
It's the hardest thing that I've ever done by far. It's very common working 80 to 100 hours a week. Sometimes I'm in between flights. I had to lay on the floor in airports out of exhaustion. Sometimes I travel from east to west coast, 3-hour difference, and I wake up like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning on the west coast, because it's the time that I used to wake up at home, 5 a.m., and I start working because there's nothing else to do. Sometimes there's people that are the closest to me that don't believe. They don't see me succeeding. Actually, probably one of the hardest things is that, you have to have your own child looking at you and say, my father is a loser. He's doing something that doesn't make any sense. He's not, no way he could make this successful. And that's something that you live with every day. And in your heart of hearts, that that's the right thing to do. But you have to carry that, and you can't let that distract you. Your own child judging you and seeing that, perceiving in their own mind that, you're a loser, you're unsuccessful. So those are the things that you can't really see. I don't talk about. It's not because I'm trying to hide. It's just something that it comes with the job. I sign up for this. When I do this, I do it conscientiously. I don't do it because I don't have an alternative. I could go back and have a corporate job. That I don't think that that'll be an issue for me. It's just that I feel that my calling is here to do what I do today. So,
thanks for sharing that. You've recently. You spent a lot of time domestically, but internationally, you've met with some really impactful people. How have those individuals impacted your life? And feel free to name drop who you've recently met with. I think they are of high, dignified status in certain countries, and maybe they have a personal connection to you as well. Maybe they don't, but you've met with quite a few people. I don't think there's anyone who travels the States as much as you and your team, and then also you're an international traveler, obviously, with your family in Romania. Who are those people that are impactful people to you, and what impact have they made?
Without actually, naming names, I had the opportunity, and I was fortunate enough to sit at the same table with executives, people that have written history in multifamily, have built sometimes more than one multi-billion-dollar businesses, right, or led. Some of them I had to say that I'm fortunate to call them mentors of mine. They're individuals that I could reach out, and I actually reach out and ask for advice. I recently, 2 months ago, when I was back visiting family, I had the opportunity to speak with a ex-U.S. ambassador to Romania. And there's an angle out there. There's a situation with a Russian-Ukrainian war that I think people in the United States don't really see the full circle of what's going on. So I think that was a very eye-opening conversation, even for me, having family and friends out there. I didn't realize so many things that I learned through our conversation. So I felt that I needed to do this. I needed to have this podcast just so I could put it out here, just so maybe more people get a different perspective than just, a one-sided, I should say, or not a full circle type of perspective about what's happening in that region.
A lot of consultants joining multifamily. I would even say maybe inspired by what you're doing, the work that you're doing. What would you say to that consultant that is maybe in a W-2 job today and says, hey, I want to do what Adrian's doing. I want to do what some of these other consultants are doing. What would you say to them? How important are impactful people, mentors to have in their circle? What would you advise them before they just jump in and do that? Because you and I have talked, right? Like, this isn't for everyone. This is very difficult. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of at-home strife at times. Successful, it's all good, right? But when it gets tough, it's hard and sometimes, frankly, lonely, right? What would you say to that person, kind of as a balanced approach, to say, this is what I would suggest that you look at. Look at this and look at that. Don't just blindly jump in. But if you're called, you're called. What would you say? Any advice?
I'll say test your theories.
Say it again?
Test your theories, right? What am I going to sell? What type of services am I going to sell? Before I make this step, right? Test them with potential clients. Approach them and say, if I was to actually have this service ready for you, or this product, maybe it's a product, right? What would you, how would you criticize it? Give me your worst testimonial, or give it to me, right?
Yeah, your most critical feedback.
The most critical, yes. Couldn't find a word there. So give it to me all, right? Just so I could understand.
And be willing to take it and listen.
That's
not a lot of folks like to do that.
That's an incredible trait, and I think very few people have it. I also think it could be trained. You could train yourself
to be able to take feedback.
Exactly, to be able to take. Because what I've learned is that most people ask questions, and they expect that the answers are reassuring that what they're planning or what they're saying is right. They're not actually looking for real feedback.
Interesting. So you're saying they have this idea, and then they surround themselves with a bunch of optimists and friends that say, "Oh, that's a great idea. You should do that," and versus surround themselves with maybe some critics, maybe some friends that are tough and critical, maybe some potential clients that are willing to give really honest, hard feedback that doesn't feel great. You're saying a lot of folks seem to just kind of run into it with this insulated circle that is very supportive, and then when they hit the free market, it can be very challenging.
It's not a good idea to take advice for someone that's never been where you want to go. So you might have a circle of friends, great friends. If they never done that, how could they advise? How could they give you valid advice?
Yeah.
I mean, they might
support, but advice is different.
Support, yes, but advice is different. There's other things to consider as well. Build your runway. Like, how much could you live on zero income? Because remember, whatever you're making today, chances are when you stepped into this, self-employed role, it's going to be down to zero. And then chances are you're gonna have to make that from pieces. It's not gonna be like a single client
Right.
that's gonna replace the entire income that you used to make at a W-2. Sometimes that happens, but it's not the rule.
But it's also, obviously this is me chiming in a little bit. You got to be careful having one client, because if one client doesn't go well or right, then
It's the same. It's the same with when you're employed.
Well, and that's the reality of what it is. And I think you and I both have learned this. Easy way and the hard way is, when you're working for a W-2 employer, could be a great employer, could not be, but ultimately that's one client, right?
Yep.
At a notable paycheck or whatever you may be getting. That's great advice, AD, for individuals to really take a hard step back to say, my consulting services or my product or service, feel free to chew it up and spit it out and give it back to me and tell me how I can improve that. I think on the product side, even just as suppliers, right, that could be done probably better and more effective. Let's speed ourselves up into the industry in 2026. Let's start with 2025, then we'll get into 26 shortly thereafter. I'd love to get your assessment of the state of the market, where we are in 2025, here Q4, going into Q1, depending on when this is going to be aired. Where are we? Where have we been in 25? Where do you see us going in 26?
So I think a couple of important trends are to be paid attention to. The first one is obviously the influence that the industry is experiencing with AI. How the industry is influenced by AI, by automation. I think the first things that we're seeing happening is a lot of individuals losing their jobs. There's a lot of jobs that are being eliminated. I think a good part of them, a good chunk of them are not coming back, even when the economy picks up. There's another phenomenon. I was just talking to a friend literally yesterday, and he told me, he's an investor. He said, it's happening. What's happening? The investors that bought like properties 2, 3, 4 years ago with variable rates, they can't hold on to them anymore. So the banks are taking over. They're selling the notes right now. So what that does, that unlocks a lot of transactions in the market, and that's actually a positive thing. A lot of companies, property management and investment companies, they're counting on those fees when they raise money from the investors. If they don't move the money, they don't invest the money in something, they can charge them the fees, the admin fees, all the fees, right? And then people don't get paid. And then people don't get paid, people are losing their jobs. So this is actually a glimpse of hope. And I think we're going to start seeing more and more and more in Q1, Q2 of 2026 of those transactions. And that's actually good news, right? It's also good news that people that weren't able to save their properties, right? Obviously, they can pay bills. Vendors aren't getting paid. Now those properties are purchased by other groups. They're very well positioned to catch up on bills, to invest the proper money in a property, to address the deferred maintenance, to raise the quality of living for the residents. So everybody wins there. I think these are the two main trends to look for in 2026. Top trends.
Okay, so let's break those down a little bit. Obviously, the first one is the elephant in the room, is AI is coming fast. It's already here. It's starting to gobble work, and when work was taken away, or to use the term I used, the scientific term of gobble, jobs go away. When work is taken through automation and computerized work. Where are you seeing, what segments of the industry are you seeing jobs going away due to automation and AI? Do you see those jobs continuing to go away in 26? And, is there any other segments of the industry in 26 or 27 that you see on the chopping block?
That's a great question. So I think learning and development, a lot of jobs are going away, and they're not coming back. That's one segment.
So for anyone listening, so obviously if you're in L&D right now and you hear Adrian say, my division's going away due to AI, tell them why.
So
it's not that they're not great trainers and
No.
they love people and they convey great messages and help educate. They do a great job of that. Most L&D, and I've spent a little time in the training division, and you've worked closely with trainers as well. Great people doing really good work, but the technology, it's different today and it's available today. Can you help them understand why they're a segment that may be under siege?
It absolutely has nothing to do. I have so many friends in learning and development, and it really breaks my heart because they dedicated maybe decades of their careers to educate and raise the bar for the industry. But sadly, technology now replaces a lot of the things that they're currently doing. And I'm going to explain, for example, a training curriculum right now could be created and managed by agentic AI, by agents. So from a department that used to have like 2 or 3 or 4 educators and a director, probably now companies could run that with just one person. They just
and essentially they automate it and have agents.
Everything's automated with agents, and you just have a human out there to oversee.
And you're not just coming up with this idea; you're seeing it happen.
I'm seeing it happen. There's a lot of friends of mine, and a lot of them have been laid off, and they have been looking for work for a minute.
What other segments of the industry are you seeing AI coming for?
Marketing, big time.
So same thing, right? There's some really good marketers out there, and good people, well-intentioned, spent most of their career marketing. Same situation, I would imagine. Technology is here.
Technology is here. It does things way better than humans do. That's just reality. Not all the things, but some things,
Sure.
right? And then Google and the power of Google goes away. The paid ads are diminishing, in their power diminishes. And the reality is, most directors were in charge with, overseeing that. When that goes away, how much more is it left, right? Is it really justify for a company now, if Google ads are not, or Facebook ads are not a thing? They're not as important. Probably they will disappear pretty soon if ChatGPT and the other engines are keep pushing, the new way of searching, right? Because when you think about it, with a Google model, if you would search for an apartment in Las Vegas, the first thing that comes as a search result in Google is gonna be apartments.com. When you switch to ChatGPT or Perplexity or something else, there's no ILS listed. You just give it, what you're looking for in Las Vegas. It'll give you exactly 3 or 4 choices, but apartments.com will never show there. So that's a business that's obsolete today, like right now. I'm waiting to see like what's their their next game. It's diminishing because their only game is like to appear in searches on Google, so people go to apartments.com to find apartments.
Well, and ultimately, if I'm understanding what you're saying, is once the population, the searching population, realizes that they can get more succinct and better answers through, we'll call it ChatGPT or some version of that.
Yeah.
They will use conventional search engines, Google, and I think Google is probably the only one that people use today. Ask Jeeves, maybe. Just kidding. That essentially the search engines and those who have built a business model around being discovered through the Google search won't have the same business model, and ultimately will need to your point, you're curious to see what they do and how they adjust to the new AI generation.
Adjusting or disappearing, because that business model, it's obsolete. It just hasn't been announced yet.
So we talked about L&D. Is there any other division that you see? I know you've seen a lot of white collar jobs also.
I think a lot of white collar jobs are going to be disappearing. What AI is going to do is going to be able to look at every company structure and is going to be pointing a lot of deficiencies in operations, and you can't really hide beyond a title or a checklist or anything. Everything is going to be all on the table, and then companies will realize that they could do more with less. In other words, they could bring in more technology and use less executives. A regional manager, instead of having maybe 7 regional managers, maybe they'll cut it down to 4. Instead of having 2 or 3 VPs, maybe it's down to 1.
So, again, what you're saying is now, I mean, AI can even sort of act as an internal auditor of
100% it does.
Of your company, assessing effectiveness, roles, overlap, people doing the same job, and maybe not even as effective as maybe an agent, AI agent that is, can do the job.
Yeah, not only that, but the next one is going to be technology. We've been having this challenge since COVID with so many pieces of technology being brought in to replace that human interaction that we couldn't have during COVID. And our companies are looking at 60, 70 pieces of software that a leasing agent's got to be proficient in. They don't know how to solve it. I think that's about to be solved. AI is going to come in, is going to audit everything, is going to tell them adoption rates, like what are the softwares that are the most used, they're bringing the most results, and on the other hand, what are the most inefficient ones, the ones that the company employees are spending the most time trying to troubleshoot, trying to figure out how to navigate. And then the obvious solution is going to be those that aren't helpful. They're going to be flushed out. They're going to be eliminated.
Are you? And this is a genuine question to you. Are you, as part of some of your services going forward, are you taking a hard look at automation and AI support? Talk to us a little bit about that. I'd like to also have you talk to us a little bit about what you do on the facility side for owners and operators. But let's start with kind of how you're looking at AI. I know it's a passion project for you. I know you have saturated yourself in the AI market. You've talked to a lot of experts in the space, business owners, and how they're using the technology. So I know you're passionate about it. Is this something that you're looking to layer into some of your services or offerings in 26 and the future? Obviously, AI is not going anywhere.
As a service initially, yes, and I'm doing this with some of my clients because there's, let's just say maintenance, right? Because we're talking about this is what I'm advising on mainly. So in maintenance, you have the part that it's work order intaking, completion of work orders, management, resident callbacks. Then you have the make ready part, and then you have the procurement part, right? Ordering materials, and then you have after-hour service calls. So there's on-call service, and then you have triage. This is a new thing. I think we saw an opportunity from single family where triage becomes very important because they're trying to triage incoming work before they're dispatching technicians. It's way more important out there right there because it's very costly if you send someone to a property for a non-issue, right? In multifamily, it's not that important because you have employees at the site and they travel within the property.
Sure.
In a centralized model, that becomes a problem. So you have all those pieces, right? And you also have like training and development for maintenance, right? It's maybe not a so well-known fact that our industry at the national level only has like 10 national trainers for maintenance, 10. And at a rate of 1 per 100, 1 maintenance person per 100 units, at capacity, we should have a workforce of 230,000 maintenance employees if we were fully staffed. So that means that there's a trainer, national level trainer available for 23,000 maintenance employees. That means nothing, absolutely nothing, right? So how do we supplement? How do we assist those maintenance employees? Again, the answer there is, of course, hiring more trainers, but you don't develop thousands of trainers overnight. That's not going to happen. And chances are, if it didn't happen until now, I don't think that now we just all of a sudden we're going to start developing hundreds and hundreds or thousands of trainers. But the good news is that you have technology. They could do that. Again, back to agentic AI. You have properties changing hands, right? And even on a 3-4 year old property, how many takeovers have you done? And then there's always a question, hey, can we get the property map? Can we get the shut-offs? Can we get, where is all of this stuff located? Even on a 3-4 year old property, this information disappears. Well, AI now has the ability to capture all that information and actually making it like building legacy knowledge. When you have now, let's say you have an employee who's been with a company with a property for 5 years, and they walk out of the property, this might be the only employee that actually knows almost everything that's going on. Shut-offs, where's everything at, whatever. Right. They walk out, that information is gone. The AI, the agentic AI has the capability to harvest that information from this employee. So when you have this turnover and this individual leaves, that information stays behind and is being passed on to others, right? So it doesn't become like this, holy grail that just lives with the employee. Stays. Of course, the employee will take that information with them, but it's also captured and stays at the property.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I think our industry has, I think in some ways, sure, there's some innovation happening, but I think you just pointed out one example of many that our industry has very sort of antiquated processes of passing information along. And here we are in the AI generation at this point that immediately can take information that's happening in real time, even historical information, and provide it, in a database and for future associates that are coming on board versus, all this lost information of employee turnover, all these sorts of things. So I suspect that you see multifamily. You asked me this question, I'll ask you it as well. You see multifamily as very susceptible to AI and technology going forward. And would you say that, I think there's great benefit to it because I think with every new industry shift, and AI is shifting most industries, let's be honest, it's not just property management, there's plenty of opportunity that comes as well. For anyone listening to you, because I think those who've been following you for some time know that you've been really honest about AI and it coming for jobs in certain segments. What's the flip side of that, AD? What should they be doing to keep their jobs, right? What should people be doing to build careers in the new AI generation? Any advice?
Absolutely. Spend at least an hour a day playing with AI technology, any type of AI, whether it's ChatGPT that helps you write better, whether it's improving your knowledge, prompting AI, whether trying a new piece of technology that's AI powered. Whatever you do, just every day learn something every single day.
So what I'm hearing you say is and it's great advice, obviously, is to partner with this technology. Don't run from this technology. Don't try to hide.
You can't hide. You can't hide. You're gonna be deemed obsolete. If you're hiding from this technology and you want to stay in this world, because obviously if you want to live, in the woods and everything, and you want to live a simple life, that's a possibility. But we're talking about people that don't have that intention. People that want to stay in this business, they want to evolve, they want to thrive. The only way that you're going to thrive in the future is going to be exposed, understand what this technology does, be a good steward of the technology, and understand what this technology does as a tool. This technology is just a tool; is not your enemy, and technology itself is not taking your job. But someone that can handle that technology will.
Yeah, it's interesting. It was actually a quote on my recent podcast with Paul Yout from Yardi. He said just that, right? And maybe this is just a bigger quote that you're referencing. It's not that AI is taking your job, but it's the person that knows AI better than you that's going to take your job, right? Or automate your job ultimately. Yep. And so for anyone listening, I think it's loud and clear what you're saying is familiarize yourself with this technology, even at a very basic low level, ChatGPT, play around with it, get familiar with it. If you're at a more advanced level, understand all the different prompts and different abilities that this technology has, because you may find yourself in a situation to where you're going to have to very much partner with this technology.
When you say something as simple as ChatGPT, I want to say, for most companies out there, it's not that simple, because ChatGPT offers more support than they currently have, than they could currently get
training
from anything.
Yeah.
Anything. Training.
If you have a question about anything.
About anything, absolutely anything. It's it's not the future. It's like it's here, and it becomes smarter by the day. What people don't understand is that this is exponential. Probably is not even the proper word. Our minds cannot even comprehend how fast this technology advances. I heard Sam Altman on a podcast 2 months ago saying that no child born today is going to ever exceed the intelligence of a computer, ever.
Well, I think you make a really good point. I think there's a lot of, in certain circles of society and in workforce, for whatever reason, they're trying to demonize AI, right? To scare people that it's robots coming for your jobs, coming for your house. I mean, whatever sort of this narrative is, the reality is, these computer systems. And again, those who know AI very well, this technology isn't necessarily new. It's now become just more advanced, right? And it's only getting more advanced, probably by the day, if not by the minute. And so for us in property management, we want to continue to be familiar with this type of technology to say, ooh, I know this technology well. This could serve this project well, or this can serve this or benefit this process or procedure that we have within our company better, right? So in my mind, it's you want to be that associate that's suggesting those things. Now, ideally, you don't want to probably be suggesting things necessarily that sort of cause you to be eliminated. Be strategic about what you're suggesting. But if I'm understanding what you're saying, AD, is you want to be that person, right, in an organization to say this type of technology can help us, right, in this way, and have some legitimate experience with the technology to be, to be a subject matter expert in some way for your organization. Because if you're not, I mean, how valuable are you going forward?
Not so much. If
you're just,
especially for the non-technical jobs, because I had to say, probably maintenance jobs, right? Parts of the maintenance work could be automated currently, but the repairs themselves
still need to be made.
I don't think they're happening anytime soon. Like replacing a disposal, replacing many things. Troubleshooting. So technology will help and will influence, will make it easier for us to troubleshoot, to replace, to whatever. But it's not going to replace the technician.
Well, so there's a big sort of bigger discussion about trades, right?
Yes.
There's kind of this big discussion about college, if you will, right, and then trades, more than ever before, and it continues to seem to get louder that the trades going forward, and also probably relating to the point that you just made within property management, because there are a lot of tradesmen, right, and skill set that, especially on the facility side, that won't go away anytime soon. Fixes need to be fixed, right? Repairs need to be made. If there's anybody listening, maybe on the facility side, any recommendations on continue to hone your skills as a repairman and a tradesmith?
Learn, be better at your trade, but at the same time don't ignore technology, because technology will give you a competitive advantage. So get the best of both worlds. Be better technical, improve your technical skill, be able to fix more things to troubleshoot, but then learn how technology can help you. You can leverage technology to do more and better work.
Let's talk a little bit about the work that you're doing going forward, and specifically some exciting things that you've been doing over the last, we'll call it last couple of months. You're bringing top-tier executives together with your colleague Chris, and you guys. It feels like you guys are doing it regionally, but it looks like you're probably going to expand nationally. Talk to us a little bit about what you're doing, and how can people be a part of what you guys are doing?
Well, obviously, everyone that kind of like sees what we're doing could always reach out, and we have the conversations where it makes sense. What we're seeing is that we had this conversation before, right? It's harder and harder to get to the decision makers. The economical situation is of such that there's not so much money to be spent. Mm-hmm. Companies are trying to be conservative in spending their resources. Therefore, like there's less opportunities for supplier partners. You also have a situation where a lot of technology, for example, is being developed for the last several years, and all they're betting on is that they have to grow sales, they have to push technology. Right. On operator side, they're already experiencing a oversaturation with technology, right? So now, not only that they're not taking in more technology, but they're starting to trim down. But there's opportunities right there for the operators to kind of learn what's in the market that's good, product that helps them. And then instead like just building a wall and saying, this is too much and we're not having these conversations, maybe there's another approach here, right? We thought. And I think from what we're seeing is that I think it validates what we're believing, right? And what we're believing is that there's still opportunities out there as long as there's an alignment, right? Mm-hmm. And the only way that you're gonna do, you're gonna create that alignment is when people get to know each other.
Conversations,
right?
Relationships, yeah.
Conversations and just meaningful relationships, right? I understand that a company has a need to sell, and they want to move fast and everything, but you can't really expect from someone to buy from you someone that doesn't know you. Yeah. People do business with people that know, and maybe people they're liking, right? Yeah. So how do you get to be in that position? And that's on the supplier side. On a operator side, there's so much opportunity, so much great technology, and so many great services that operators don't necessarily have time to vet them all, right? Mm-hmm. Even though larger groups have entire departments that all they do is vetting technology.
So they say.
Through the nature of what Chris and I are doing, we have dozens of conversations every week. So we're learning about what's going on the market. What we're really doing is connecting the dots, right?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you're bringing people together that have potential alignment.
Yeah.
And having just honest conversations in sometimes small, intimate rooms, sometimes bigger rooms, and it seems as though things are going very well for you guys, and it seems like that is the future of bringing these people together.
We're seeing everybody sees that need, right? Yeah. It's not gonna be standing at a bar with loud music and booze, trying to build a relationship.
What? Networking at conferences in the bar is not the future?
You don't build a lot, of meaningful stuff. I mean, those are great events. They're just...
those are touch points. Those are just opportunities.
They're opportunities. And like you said, they're touch points, but they're not going to change your business, right? Yeah. If you were to think strictly ROI, I think that there's an argument to be made that there's so much money spent that could be better spent elsewhere,
reallocated,
right? In approaching this business development a different way. Yeah. And I think we're suffering a lot from it's always the way things have been done.
Yeah, I think that's always one of the biggest barriers, especially for the work that you do and I do and many innovators are trying to do is, well, if it's not broke, we don't need to fix it. The reality is, I think a lot of the stuff isn't working. And if it's not working, I think the technical term is it is broke. And so we need to fix it. Let's talk a little bit just in conclusion. I know you're passionate, and I think this is where our paths years ago crossed, right, is sort of on the LinkedIn platform, but specifically with content. And as we go forward, we talked a little bit about marketing and being under siege with new technologies. Content will remain still a competitive landscape for the creatives and the strategic content creators. Where do you see content going in 2026? How can people be a part of it? The biggest thing that I hear all the time as a content creator, and you probably hear this all the time as well, is where do I start with content? How do I create content? How do I think of this stuff? How do you think of this stuff? I know you've worked tirelessly over the last 2 years. I think you've told me you have content to take you all the way through like Q1 of 2026 if you were to stop now, right?
Yep.
You're probably far further than most corporate marketing departments in our business. How important is content going forward for those who want to be a part of marketing, those who want to be a part of branding?
It's never been this important. And I think the importance of organic content, not just any content, organic content grows by the day. It's companies should really invest in this, should really invest, because organic content currently is almost the only way it's the only way I know to get you to build relevance to show up in a ChatGPT type search.
Okay, let's say that again. So content is one of the only ways that you're aware of that will build relevance in a ChatGPT search.
So you could show up in a search when someone is searching for products or services like the ones that you're offering.
Give me an example of that, because I think you had some content that you created for a technician that,
yes,
and then a few weeks later you searched them on ChatGPT and that same content came up.
Yes, so I've done a podcast with a young man from Colorado. He's a service manager, and we did a podcast virtually. And as soon as we finished the podcast, I took a screenshot of the screen, and I said a few nice things about him. About the potential that he has and about a great conversation we had. And I created a LinkedIn post. A week after the fact, my editor in Romania, right, went to do research on this gentleman. And then what happened?
And you had nothing to do with this, right? This is your own researcher doing work for your company.
Absolutely, yeah. So he independently from me went and did, searching this gentleman's name. And on a Google search, on an AI search right now, because Google has that AI component too, Google pulled my LinkedIn post from a week prior and actually cited my own words as a source of truth for how this gentleman has been described. So just to put it very bluntly out there, my post became his online resume. This is how powerful it is, right? A piece of content that I created became this gentleman's online resume. So for those of you that don't believe in brand, just think about it. Your brand exists whether you want or not. The question is, are you in charge of it? Are you creating your own brand? Or you let others create it for you? Because the brand exists anyway. Your brand is going to exist regardless, right? But are you going to build your own brand, or you let others build it for you? So that's a great question to have.
Well, it's a lot. So if a marketing department wants to start exploring content, organic content, how would you suggest to them to get started?
Write about stuff that people want to read, people want to consume.
So just get started. Just
get started. Just start somewhere, right?
And it doesn't have to be high gloss. It doesn't have to be all the things.
No. Do it raw. Do it on your phone. If it's video content, just take a video with your phone, upload it right there, say a few words about it. You might be surprised. You might be surprised.
If anyone wants to, if there's a client out there, this is an opportunity that want to work with you. Remind everybody a little bit of the services you offer. I know the facilities you've mentioned a couple of different times. We'll just kind of circle back. You started with it, but we'll circle back with it. And if they want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
On LinkedIn, Adrian C. Danila. Email adrian@multifamilyxconsulting.com. And phone number 678-469-7708.
And remind the audience the services you provide. Obviously, facilities operation assessments, but you do a lot of brand, marketing, messaging, video.
Branding from scratch, rebranding. We do web development. We do content creation, whether that's video format or written format. We do videography. We could create, high level documentaries, high quality documentaries. We do on-demand podcast also, and also ghostwriting. We do ghostwriting for some executives, obviously for privacy reasons and NDAs. We don't disclose the names, but they're too busy, running companies, and content is not what they typically do. So we ghostwrite for them. So that's also a service.
I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate you. There were some moments there that even as your friend, I haven't heard. I haven't heard all the Romanian stories. I didn't know about that envelope. That's cool. But you also shared some personal stuff, at-home stuff, the challenges at times. Obviously it's one thing to slay the dragons of the industry that don't believe in what we do, but sometimes some of the most difficult challenges are people in our inner circle that maybe question some of the work that we do or the dreams that we have or the vision that we have. And so I appreciate you being honest and vulnerable and sharing those stories. I'm sure it will really encourage somebody at home maybe listening that is striving or trying to build something or trying to create something and maybe not getting all the support that they hope they would get, but hopefully one day, at the right time with the right support, they'll kind of see, and the vision will come to life, right? And everyone will see like what the goal was and what the goal is. So, AD, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate all the work that you're doing in the industry as well. If those. Sometimes they come to me and say, Tony, you work hard. I say, I don't work nearly as hard as one guy, Adrian Danila. So you inspire me and I think the industry for all the work you're doing, and you're doing good work. So thank you.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for being on the show, man.
You got it.